Project A119. In 1958, at the height of the space race, the United States Air Force came up with what might be the most audacious scientific proposal ever, Project A119. Their mission, to detonate a nuclear bomb on the moon, targeting the moon's terminator, the line between the light and dark sides, making the explosion visible to everyone on Earth. Why would anyone consider such a drastic plan? After the Soviet Union launched Sputnik in 1957, America was desperate to show off its own space capabilities. They settled on using a W-25 warhead, a relatively small nuke, about 1/8 the size of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The project brought together some remarkable minds, including a young Carl Sagan, who worked on predicting how nuclear explosions would behave in the moon's low gravity. By January 1959, the Air Force came to their senses and cancelled the project. The project remained secret for over 40 years, until the year 2000, when Leonard Reifel, the project's leader, finally revealed its existence. Looking back, he expressed horror that such a plan was ever considered. Thankfully, in the end, America decided landing on the moon would be a better idea than blowing it up. Apollo 1 fire. Apollo was supposed to be NASA's triumphant mission to the moon. Instead, it started with one of the darkest days in space history when a routine test in 1967 went horribly wrong. The Apollo 1 capsule was lined with Velcro and nylon netting, designed to secure its cargo, and filled with pure oxygen, allowing the crew to breathe while inside the capsule. When a damaged wire caused a spark in the cabin, the highly flammable materials inside ignited. The fire spread instantly, turning the spacecraft into a death trap for its crew. The Apollo capsule's main crew hatch was designed to open inward, which meant the increasing cabin pressure from the fire made escape impossible. By the time the ground crews got it open, all 3 astronauts were dead. NASA's official review board spent months investigating the disaster. What they found was damning. Once again, engineers had warned them about the deadly combination, but once again, nobody listened. NASA completely redesigned the Apollo capsule after that, switching to a safer atmosphere, substituting the flammable materials for less flammable ones, and installing a new outward opening hatch. Unfortunately, it took 3 astronauts' lives for the engineering department to get a little respect. The lost Apollo 11 tapes. Picture the most important video you've ever filmed. Now imagine recording over it with your trip to the DMV. That's basically what happened to the original Apollo 11 moonwalk recordings. The original signals were recorded on special data tapes at receiving stations in Australia and California, and then they vanished. In the early 1980s, NASA had a problem. They were facing a severe shortage of the magnetic tapes they used to record satellite data. In response, the team at NASA resorted to recording over old tapes, including the ones containing one of humanity's greatest achievements. The truth didn't come out until 2006. NASA went as far as bringing engineers from the time out of retirement to help track down the missing tapes. They searched for 3 years, but in 2009, NASA admitted defeat. The tapes were gone, erased and reused decades earlier, and doing absolutely nothing to quiet moon landing skeptics. The Challenger disaster. On January 28, 1986, NASA launched the Space Shuttle Challenger despite more warnings than the dashboard of a 2006 Kia Sorento. What most people don't know about the Challenger disaster is that engineers had spent the night before the launch desperately trying to stop it from happening. The problem? The rubber O-rings sealing the rocket boosters were known not to provide the seal they were intended to under the extreme conditions of a rocket launch, and were especially prone to failure in cold weather. The temperature on the morning of Challenger's launch was forecast to reach temperatures well below freezing. During a late-night teleconference, engineers presented their case and recommended against the launch. Their management initially agreed, but after a second meeting, the decision was reversed and the launch would proceed as scheduled, despite the warnings. 73 seconds after liftoff, the cold, stiffened O-ring failed exactly as predicted. While initial reports suggested instant destruction, later investigations revealed the crew cabin survived the breakup, and some crew members remained conscious during the nearly 3-minute fall. NASA kept this information quiet for months. An investigation revealed the team at NASA had known about O-ring problems since 1977. Even though the space race was officially over, NASA was still operating under the same launch at all costs mentality that defined the 1960s. Only now, instead of racing the Soviets, they were racing their own schedules and budgets.